Hi Jenny, how are you? Sorry, I've been like just trying to get myself back, hitting the ground. It's hard.
Can you guys hear me okay?
We can now.
Yep.
Good. Awesome. It's almost 1 o'clock. Susan,
Hello.
I need a doctor's excuse or something from you if you're gonna miss my calls.
I know, I know. I've been so out of it. I'm trying to get back slowly. I took too long of a break.
I think I still owe you. I've been sending out emails. I've been trying to catch everybody up. So I think I owe you a call. My calls are Wednesday from 2 to 3. There's two of them, 2 to 2:30, 2:30 to 3 Eastern.
Okay.
And I have a new link. So just I do pay my bills.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Now we're about ready to start. It's 1 o'clock, and thank you so much for being on. I'm Danny Grimes, coming to you from my studio in Southwest Florida. This is Mastery, and what we do is practice mastery level role play. We have a daily class that's called Recon that a lot of you guys are on. I'll let these people in. Here we go. Admit. And if you'd like to join, this is free too. That's from 9:30 to 10 each day Eastern, 9:30 to 10. That's the QR code for the Recon. And that is a Keller Williams sponsored class. I'm one of the coaches. John McLeod's another coach. This is my class, Mastery, and it's an hour long. And what we'll do is go a little bit deeper into some of the conversations. And I want to share with you some wisdom, I think, about my way of thinking on the transaction and what I maybe have learned. So if you're watching by YouTube, and if you haven't joined the YouTube, please do to Danny Grimes Mastery. Here is the QR code to join us live each and every Friday, except when there's a holiday. So welcome everybody. I trust you have some things you want to sharpen up on. Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. Let me go through just a couple of these slides. It is the 19th of January. We all know that. We practice question-based listening enhanced. Listening, when you get good at questions, the next skill that's going to evolve is listening. And I'm shocked how poor people listen, just in general. And my pet peeve is I go to the theater, used to go to a lot of the theater before COVID. I don't go so much because I kind of stream on Prime and Netflix, etc. So I would go there, and I'm a big popcorn guy. And today is National Popcorn Day, just for trivia. And I would say the same thing. I'd say I want a large popcorn, no butter, and a medium Diet Coke, and no receipt. I mean, I already knew the questions they asked. And so they would go and he'd say whatever. He's punching it in. He said, "Okay, you get the popcorn. Did you want butter on that? What size Coke did you need? Do you want a receipt?" Everything I just said, he never heard. And so I want you to get to the point where you're not like that. What will happen is once you get on an appointment so many times and you're you might be listening, but you're expecting them to answer a certain way and they don't, and you just keep going, or they do answer the same way but meant something else. So I won't dwell on it anymore. I'm just going to let you know your business, your world will open up when you start listening better, and that includes to your kids. And well, I don't really think your spouse matters. I'm kidding. So and I want to share one more thought today with you is before we get into the conversations. And if any of you guys are leading other people or are struggling maybe with yourself, I've got something here. Here's my thought today. I had this on Thursday. I wanted to share it with you. Why is it? I'm from Florida. And what that means is everybody in Florida has a real estate license, used to have a real estate license, or will get a license. Y'all know what I mean, Vern? And so they want to get into real estate, make some money. And so what happens is why do 50% of them fail within a year and 90% are out within a year? I go around the country for Keller Williams and I teach a class called Bold. If you're with Keller Williams, you know what that is. And I just wonder why so many agents are bumps on the log. And I'm going to share this with you. There's a lot of people, in fact, I bet you right now, and this is a mastery class, so it's a very fair bet, you know enough about real estate to be wildly successful. Now, you're here learning. However, you're not here for knowledge as much as, I hope, you want to develop skill. Knowing is simple. That's learning, that's knowledge. I know a lot of people hide in real estate and they go to classes, but they don't do anything. So knowledge is knowing what to do. Skill is knowing how to do it. And so in this class, I'm going to give you a little bit of both. I'm going to give you some skill. However, your skill comes by doing, and you guys being on this class for an hour once a week, or maybe even recon, isn't going to get you where you need to be fast enough. So just hear me on this. I've done this 40 years, and I wish if I could go back and do anything over, I would go and I would practice more. I used to think, because I would be busy all the time and I'd be talking to people, blah, blah, blah. I really never practiced. I was actually practicing on live people, and it was costing me time and money. So I want you guys to know that your skill will come by doing. You can watch all the videos you want. However, I'm trying to learn pickleball. Pickleball's a big sport. And you know what? You got to go out and hit the ball. And here's the thing. One more thing on that. And here's my last point. If you want to accelerate your learning curve, you want to get there faster. It's not just practicing. You need one more thing. And that's basically perspective and accountability. Another word for perspective is you need a coach. Like, for example, I'm practicing my serve out there by myself. No one was telling me how to do it. I was just watching people and thinking, okay. However, if I had a coach, he would or she would say, hey, hold it this way, do that, stand this way. And it would accelerate my learning curve. Now, I may not be saying anything new to you. You might already know all that stuff. However, there may be some people in your world that need to. And I encourage you, if you do not have a coach, get one. And it will 10x your business, and not to steal something from Grant Cardone. All right, that's all free. And that's going to be a speech I give my Bold class. So here we are. It is a role-playing Friday. We do anything, outbound calls. We can do conversations at the table. This past week, it's been on recon. We've been working on even care and concern calls. So get your hand up if you want to play. And everybody learns. We'll give you some pointers. Everybody and we'll basically make it available to anyone that what we share. So I'm getting ready to do some writing to take some notes. If you have your hand up, and we got a pretty good crowd today. We have time to get through quite a few. So who wants to go first? And if you have your name as Sherry, go ahead and change it to your name. I think that's Nicole. Nicole, is that you?
That's Nicole.
Okay.
I'm Nicole.
Got it. It says Sherry, but I know you're Nicole.
Okay.
So where are we beginning? Susan? I always love Susan. She feels guilty because she's been gone like for 3 months. All right. Susan, what are we doing today, please?
So I want to do outbound call expire. It's not just getting in my first couple of second introduction, but I really want to be able to engage the prospect in a conversation. And I want to maintain that rather than hanging up or not interested. And like, how do I want to be able to maintain that conversation.
Okay, so you're calling, I had to turn up my volume. You're calling what buyer?
Expires, sellers.
Expires. All right. All right. So who wants to be next? Who wants to be my expired? Who's got their hand up? Come on. Anyone can be a seller. All right, Joe, way to go. Susan, you ready?
Yes, I am. Okay.
So, here, because this is mastery, I'm going to slow it down, and I want everyone to participate here. I want you to give me your intro. This is going to be ring, ring, hello. Then I want to hear your first part first. And then I'm going to stop you, but don't lose your train of thought, okay? Go.
Okay. Ring, ring.
That's you,
Hi.
Joe.
I said hello.
Hi, Joe. This is Susan, and thank you so much for taking my call. I'm calling about 123 Maple Street and was wondering when will you be putting that back on the market?
All right,
I'm
there's
not
one.
sure.
Hang on, Joe, hang on. All right, we're going to break it down a little bit.
Okay.
Now, we talked about practice. All right, do it again, please. Everybody listen and see if it comes off the same or better. Because this is your bull ride. This is your 8 seconds. One of the things I said on a recon, I'm going to give you one more thought. I'm just proud of myself. When we watch the Olympics, when you watch gymnastics, for example, and my daughter was in gymnastics, and so we watched, the Olympics. And you go through the routine, what has to happen for it to get like a 10 or a high score? Everyone is waiting for, even the ice skaters, when they have to kind of end it well, stick the landing, right? Y'all know what I mean. When you're making outbound calls, it's not the routine and stick the landing, it's stick the landing, then the routine. So your first 8 seconds will be the invitation, yes or no, are you going to be able to keep going? Well, that means we have to sound great and we can't sound like everybody else. Therefore, your first 8 seconds, you should be able to deliver without a syllable, without a decibel difference, over and over and over again. Susan, again, your intro.
Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hi, Joe. This is Susan, and thank you so much for taking my call. I was calling you about 123 Maple Street and was wondering when will you be putting the house back on the market?
All right, don't answer. Hang on. Do it again. Now, in my opinion, well, all right, I'm doing all the talking. We're not going to spend an hour on this. However, this is how I want you to practice. Any input for Susan on that?
Just have confidence. I think just have confidence, because if you don't have confidence when you're making the call, it's going to be very, very evident on the other side of the phone.
Did you say passion?
Confidence.
Confidence.
Confidence. You're saying confidence?
Right.
Yeah.
Talk
Okay,
talk with confidence.
All right.
So Denny,
Yeah,
Denny,
go
I
ahead.
think
Go ahead, Paul.
I think that instead of asking when they plan to put the house back on the market, in order to sound more like a voice of knowledge, that you're calling to let them know that the house recently came off the market. And did they know that? I guess would be a question I would ask. And if they were thinking, they're still thinking about moving, and if so, how soon would they like to move? Something to that effect versus when are you putting it back on the market?
Okay, so let me just comment after doing this for the better part of the year. I hear you on that, and it's kind of like a professional golfer on how they would maybe swing the golf club. Here's my thinking on that. Whatever works the best for you, there's a lot of good questions you could ask, and you might have a different question. And so I think my opinion is it's not within a spectrum. What you ask in a range of good questions is not as important as how you ask it with the confidence or whatever. And what I like, and again, what she's doing, and this is just my input, when are you thinking you're putting your home back on the market? I kind of like it, because if they don't know, and here's the thing, you already have to kind of graph out, what are they going to say to that? Well, if they don't know if their house is off the market, that might be the question. Then you would know what to say. So let's go one more time. And Joe, don't answer. I want to see if she comes off a little bit more confident. And she's good on the phone. She's been on these a number of times. The only thing I thought for me, if you're going to err on pace, err faster than slower. I think it felt a little slow, typically to the way you do normally talk, Susan. One more time.
Okay, I'll do my normal. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi there, this is Susan, and thank you so much for taking my call. I was calling you about 123 Maple Street and was wondering when will you be putting that back on the market?
Okay, good. And one thing that I happen to like is that, thank you for taking my call. It's very popular. It's in a lot of the bold scripts that were original bold scripts. If you're with Keller Williams, you know the class. And it's better than one of the things I don't like for my personality style. How you doing? Like, I'm not telling you how I'm doing. I know who you are. All right. So now I'm going to give you a minute and a half. With the third time you just did that, or with the fourth, I don't know. It was good, good pace. I thought you had confidence. Joe, get ready, go.
So I start from the beginning.
Yeah, start from the beginning.
Hey Joe, thanks for taking my call. Gosh, okay. Hey
That's
Joe,
okay.
thanks for taking my call. I was calling about 123 Maple Street and was wondering when will you be putting the house back on the market?
Yeah, I'm not sure. We've just had it on for some months and we're a little tired.
Oh, wow. So you're not sure. So it seems to me that you're thinking about selling somewhere down the road. Is
Yeah,
that
of
right?
course, but yeah, I'm not sure about right now.
Okay. What is that you're not sure about right now?
I think it's, the time of the year here, it's cold, and I think that's what's keeping the buyers from coming out. So we're just gonna kind of wait till the weather warms up.
Okay. So you think about the weather to be warm up, that will be another 2 or 3 months from now. If I could help you, prepare you to get the house ready when times come, is this something that you may be interested in?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, what would you do different than the other agents didn't do?
That's
All right,
exactly why.
hang on. I'm gonna stop you. Just pause. That's just over a minute. Now, you started good. He gave you his concern. I'm gonna wait or whatever. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do right now. And then you got on his conversation and not on yours. Everything since he opened his mouth has been about what he said. What would it look like if, I forget the exact words you use, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I'm going to wait, whatever. Yes, I understand. Well, what would it look like if you did not drill down on what he said, you acknowledged what he said and went back to your agenda, which is, by the way, when you did sell, where are you going? Because everything, you started going down and layering what he said versus really staying on your agenda. And this is kind of my epiphany here in the last week or so, as I've studied this process, is what would it look like no matter what you said? Well, okay, you're going to hire your other agent. Well, I understand. Well, let me ask you, when your home sells, where you're going? You said better than that. What are you going to do next? Where are you moving to? How soon do you need to be there? Go to your questions before you start drilling down on his statement, because now he's leading it.
Right. Okay.
He's leading the conversation instead of you. Does that make sense to anyone?
No, it definitely makes more sense for me because I have a tendency, because I listen too much, and then that's when I try to drill and establish a rapport with them, right? But I think, you know what, Joe, I understand that you're thinking about the warmer months. If you did sell, what would it do for you and your family?
Probably get out of Illinois. Probably go someplace warm.
Okay. And
let me help you out, Joe. When would you like to be there?
A few months would be great.
Well, let me ask you, if that could happen now, would that be a problem for you?
No, not at all.
Well, eventually you're going to have to talk to an agent to help you, right?
I guess.
And if a buyer were out there, right now that could help you get there sooner, and maybe for more money, would you want to know about it?
Oh, of course.
So I might go use that's the track that I'm on. And again, I'll just remind you, to have your cameras out, you can take a picture of this, because I don't have Louise. She's not here taking notes. You put it in the chat. Remember, when you're making outbound calls to expireds, they're probably already past number 1, which says they're not interested in selling. They're probably past number 2, they might sell. They're probably on number 3, they've already decided to sell. So 4 and 5 is, okay, if they are still wanting to move, then they have a decision to make. Are they going to do it themselves or hire an agent? That's number 4. And if they're willing to talk to agents, then the fifth mindset is, okay, if you know they still want to move and they still want to talk to an agent, then how do you get your hat in the ring? Well, you're going to have
Danny,
to make, go ahead.
Your screen's black.
Oh, it froze, didn't it? Hang on. Can you still hear me?
I can
Yes,
hear
sir.
you, but I can't see you.
My camera's not working?
That's a nice picture.
Took me 5 years to get that.
You're back.
There you go. Move your hand so I can get a picture. Thank you.
Okay. So the important thing, for me, I have to have things in like easy, like run the bases or logical, because you're not going to, if someone has no interest in selling, then why would you sell yourself on that, on yourself? However, if they are going to sell and they are going to use an agent, hey, listen, Joe, you're going to, at some point, you're going to have to interview an agent, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, you might have to go through that process. Well, why don't you do yourself a favor and start with the best first? Why don't you do yourself a favor and start with the one that gives you the most guarantees? Would you like to hear about my guarantees?
Okay, I'm game.
There you go. All right. At some point in time, you're going to throw something out there that is going to be, okay, look, you're going to have to go and do this sooner or later. And if they delay, I'm going to ask you the question right now. If they want to delay, okay, what lever can you use on paying? If they want to delay, hey, I'm going to wait till summer. What lever can you use on paying?
Oh, he wants to go somewhere warm.
I see. Nicole, go ahead.
I would say, well, what if there was a buyer now out there looking for a home just like yours? And because you waited, you missed the opportunity to sell your home.
All right. Now, all right. So what I'm hearing you is like that there's more than one buyer out there. And, if it's God's will, there'll be a buyer later on, so that's not moving the needle yet. There's no pain in that because there's going to be another buyer. What could be a level of a pain level?
Okay, how about
Go ahead.
Danny? Okay, how about so you want to wait until the spring, right?
Yeah.
Okay, how about right now is the winter, there's not that many competition out there. But the spring is going to be more competition, then your leverage of having multiple offer may be less than what you will get right now.
Okay, that could be one. However, now let's do it in a series of questions. So Z, what would be a question?
So Danny, so do you think you say you want to wait till the spring, right?
Yes.
Well, I've been hearing that a lot when I'm making my calls. Do you know that?
No.
So what do you think other people that want to, other sellers that want to sell their home, what do you think they are doing right now?
I don't know. I don't know any other sellers. You're on the right track. You're on the right track, but I'm answering a way I think I would answer. So I want you to keep going. She's on the right track. This is a skill, you guys. Knowing where you want to go, but leading them bite by bite. Instead of like going right to the end, you have to lead them because you're going to get them where they're answering the questions and they're going to box themselves in. So Z, it would be something like this. Okay, so let me ask you then. Why do you find out why? Just role play with me, Z. Why do you want to wait till spring?
Because it's gonna be more buyers in the spring, and I'll get more for my money for my house.
Oh, okay. So now here's the question that leads up to where she was going. Well, do you think there's other sellers out there that are thinking the same thing?
Possibly, yes.
So do you think it's to your advantage to be on the market when there's fewer sellers or when there's more sellers? You see what I'm doing? I'm baby stepping them. Now you say then, okay, so let me ask you then, if more buyers are looking in the spring, would you think that if buyers were looking now in the winter months, they might be a little bit more motivated? And they won't have as many homes to choose from? Can you see how that might help you? So what are your thoughts? So Z, you're on the right track. Nice job. Do y'all see what I'm saying? That's the pain. That's one angle of pain. What's another one?
You ask them how soon they want it to be.
Now that, yeah, spring, summer, yeah, it's okay. La-di-da.
Their new location, how soon do they want to move?
That's the same question. Spring, summer, la-di-da.
If you're not there, how would that affect you or something like that? What would be a problem for you if you didn't get there when you wanted to get there? Something like
No
that?
problem. No problem. La-di-da. Where's the pain? Where's the pain, guys? Can you see me?
How would you feel if you lose equity in your home by
What do
waiting?
you,
Well, okay. Well, hang on. Well, what do you mean? I lose equity?
Well, if you wait, then you won't have that much buyers that are going to, because of the competition, they are not going to offer as much as you want for your home.
Make
I
less
hear
money.
that. I hear that, but I don't think you can demonstrate that. Plus, it's not a question. Let me make this statement. Another level of pain is, and I shared this, I think a week ago or 2 weeks ago. I want you guys to know the direction of your market. And so you would ask them. So I'm going to go back up to you, Susan. You're the seller. So let me ask you, Susan, do you think the market's working in your favor as a seller or working against you?
If I put the house on the market now,
Yeah, based on what you see going on in the market now.
well, I think it's working against me because my husband on the market I didn't get any offers at all.
Okay, so now when you ask that question, I call it the meat thermometer, and you should always, at some point in your interview, in your conversation, find out what their opinion of the market is. And when you go and give a listing presentation, you give all your stats and you sound like Einstein and you go through all this without asking them, and you just start telling them what the market's doing, you're missing the opportunity. Because now when she said that, well, I think the market's working against me. What am I doing? I'm going to use a pain threshold. If you ask what that means, and I say, are you saying that, or maybe it confirms that, hey, look, the market is eroding a little bit from the peak prices we saw in 2022, 2023. So Susan, if your home is worth less every day, is selling sooner better than selling later? Does that make sense, you guys? That is another avenue of pain.
I love that because that's you're not just putting a radar on putting that in their radar. So they'll be more like thinking about it like, oh, okay.
One of the things people talk about out there about the interest rates dropping is that buyers are coming off the fence, right? Makes sense. Well, there's another fence that people have their butts on, and who's sitting on that fence? Sellers. You read your lips, Paul. You're right. So when interest rates come down and buyers come off the fence, well, sellers are come off the fence too. So in reality, I'm just saying, in reality, could it not be a push? So the prices don't go crazy. There's more buyers, yet more sellers. So it is a push. Therefore, you evaluate the move now versus later based on motivation. So, all right. Anybody get any lightning bolts out of that? Nicole?
Yeah, so can we circle back? When I said to the guy, right now, what if there's a buyer out there who's looking, and especially now that there aren't a lot of houses on the market because other people are also waiting till the spring, you may get more money because they'd be willing to pay more if your house is the house they're looking for. So it kind of combines the fact of the pain of getting less money if they wait, because then more houses and more buyers are then out there. So Did that not hit you when I,
Well, I didn't quite hear it that way, but still, are you saying are you telling the seller a buyer will pay more for their home now versus
because there
later?
aren't that many houses on the market, so it would be more of a seller's market right now because we're leaning into a buyer's market, and come the spring, there will be more buyers, yet there will be more sellers with their houses on the market.
Are you stating that as a fact?
That's just the way it rolls. Like in the springtime, everybody's going out looking because they think that, it's springtime. And then the sellers think, well, now it's time to put it on the market. The buyers are coming out.
Well, I don't follow, I follow what you're saying, but one of the rules that I have is I never predict what's going to happen next. And if you're using that, hey, look, you're going to get more money for your house now than you will in the spring, because it's going to be it's a seller's market now, and it's going to be a buyer's market in the spring. I think you're predicting. There's a better way of having that conversation. I think we just had it. Like, for example, and you have the concepts, just don't promise. I asked the question, then if other sellers are going to be on the market, do you want to sell your house now when there's fewer sellers? Then, yeah, then okay, then is it possible? And here's the point that I want you to get. It's kind of like if you have sellers, we just got out of the holidays, right? Sellers want to take their property off the market during the holidays for understandable reasons. However, a lot of sellers do that, and there's buyers and if a buyer is looking in an inopportune time, that means that buyer's serious. So in theory, when a seller does not want to be on the market in the winter because spring is more opportunist, better
Opportunistic.
thank you. Then they're literally taking their house off the market in the best time, because the sellers want to be on when all their other sellers are off. Because only buyers looking. It won't be the majority of the buyers. The most serious buyers are in the market. And you know what? You think that might add, this is how I do it.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell him he's going to get more. I'm going to ask him, do you think that might add to your? That's the only difference in our conversation.
Right.
Man. All right, what's next? Who's got their hand up? Paul, you're ready to go. I'm sure you are. Dorothy, come on, you're front and center. Peggy, Sherry, no, Sherry, that's not Sherry. It's Sandra. Who's ready?
What do you want to do?
It's not me. I want some objective handling. I get some.
Okay, I'll work with Joe.
Who, Joe?
Joe has his hand up.
Joe, well, he was actually the seller at one time, so I'll let him go first. Joe, you're the agent, and Peggy, you are at the table, and you may give Joe any objection you want.
Okay, Joe's going to list his house with me, and he has an objection of, let's say he wants to interview other agents first.
Am I the agent this time around?
Yeah, you are the agent this time, Joe. 3 minutes, go. You're
Good, I'm the seller.
Yeah, Peggy's the seller. She wants to interview other agents.
Hey, Peggy, thanks for letting me meet with you today. If everything I presented to you today makes sense to you, would you be comfortable with signing with me today?
I'm not yet. I just want to talk to a few other people just to make sure that I'm hiring the right person.
Okay. In those conversations with those other people, what are you looking for?
I'm looking for chemistry. I'm looking for expertise, and I'm looking for a good business mind.
So Peggy, I've been in business a long time, so I got the experience. I think you and I are getting along here today. I think there's a chemistry there.
Stop. Stop. Pause. Does anybody know what I'm going to say next?
You're talking too much. You're not asking questions.
Stop
Whoever-
telling me.
Whoever said that gets a gold star on their forehead.
It was me. It was me. And Peggy, like, oh, girl, what kind of chemistry do you want?
Now, this
And
is
it's been, I've got questions written right here and I didn't look at it. So, shame on me.
All right, first of all, Joe, all right, Joe. Now, can anyone tell me what the three things she was looking for? In the order she gave them.
Chemistry, experience, good business mind.
No. It's chemistry expertise, I think is what she said, if I could be wrong. Was that expertise or experience?
I think it was experience.
Okay, and good
That's what I
business
heard
mind. Good. Joe, did you write those down?
I wrote the first two down. I didn't get a chance to write the business mind, but I remembered it.
What the rest of you guys that are kind of watching this and learning, again, when they improve your skill of listening, start writing. Now, there's not going to be a quiz at the end, and you may not be involved in the role play. It is a habit you should get into. Now that she's listed those three things, then you started going into a litany of, I'm going to throw a bunch of crap against the wall and see what sticks. So let me ask
Oh,
you,
that's
Joe,
terrible.
what was the first thing you started saying? Experience?
I have a lot of
Correct.
experience.
Correct.
So what did you say?
I had 23 years in experience then.
Okay, so what does experience mean to her? So therefore, this is perfect. This is how we grow. So, okay, so I've got it here. Peggy, you want chemistry experience and a good business mind. And literally, I might, again, this is what's really cool about having fun on an interview. I would literally say, because I am uber impressed that in my 40 years, I've never had those three things come up. Never. And in my 40 years, there's probably only one real estate agent that has all those. That's me, right? I'm kidding. I think it's a cool list of things to say. So I would say, Peggy, okay, all right. I might use her order. You started in the middle. Chemistry. What's chemistry to you?
That when you speak, I don't get irritated. And I can hear what you're saying, and I'm not defensive.
Well, I've just learned that my wife and I don't have that. I'm having fun with you guys. Come on. You can even laugh. You're from California, Susan. I understand if you don't. Okay. All right, Joe, I modeled it for you. Where would you go from there? You're at 36 seconds. Go.
What's a good business model? A good business mind means to you, Peggy?
A good business mind, somebody
Yes,
somebody who communicates to me, somebody who is who cares about what the other agents are saying and buyers are saying, and setting up open houses and sending me reports. I want all of it.
What kind of communication are you looking for? Are you looking for daily? Are you looking for weekly?
Daily.
I'm becoming less and less interested in this listing, aren't you?
All right, I would be like, bye. I
All right.
mean,
Bye.
if you asked for chemistry and you're a man and you didn't hit on me, we're done. Going on.
Today's my
What?
29th anniversary for me and my wife. So maybe I wasn't going to be hitting on anybody today. All right.
Yeah, that's not happening. Yeah, we're not looking for a romantic chemistry out high.
Have you ever had somebody ask you about chemistry though? I mean, realistically?
Right. It either is or
In
isn't.
21 years, I've never had anybody ever ask me. I mean, I had somebody tell me I was good looking, but not chemistry.
People
Yeah,
have said to me in many ways about chemistry, but not using those words. But I feel comfortable with you. We're jamming. Like
You're on
things
the
like
same
that.
page.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's normal. Yeah.
I've never heard the word chemistry, but I know what you mean. It's like, yeah, I'm looking for the fit, feel, whatever. It's intangible. All right, so Joe, how are you doing?
So Peggy, if I accomplish all three of these things that you're looking for today, is there any other reason you would not want to list with me today?
Joe, I don't know what you mean by accomplish these things today. I don't know about your experience. I don't know how you are, yet. And that's why I want to talk. I think talking to other people, I'll really start to understand what people really have, because it's kind of in between the lines that I'm going to get my information.
Peggy, what are you looking for me from a matter of experience?
Or as far as experience,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, I want to know how many sales have you done this year, and I want to read references of your clients.
Okay, Peggy, if I give you a list of all my sales experience and my references, is there anything else you would need today so we can do business today?
I need some time to work on those things. I'm not signing anything right now, though.
All right,
Okay,
let's
that's good.
pause. Let's pause for a moment. This is an interesting thing. I want you guys to spot this. What is objective of her request, and what is subjective? The only thing that is basically objective, meaning you can give her data, is your experience. How many homes you sold, blah, 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 right?
And
And
references.
Well, that
Yes.
you said that was all part in your experience, I think. But anyway, the references, okay. Is chemistry objective or subjective?
Subjective.
Subjective.
So she's gonna, this is how I would attack that. I would say, okay, so so let's talk, and I can go through, I would go into what is experience. So if I check, I could go into my bazillion years, bazillion sales. So let's just assume for a moment that I've checked all the boxes experience-wise. Well, let's just assume that, Peggy. You're going to have to, you go by your gut level feeling when you're talking to the other agent on chemistry, aren't you?
Yes.
Mhm.
And most likely, because you're pretty intuitive, you're going to have a good feeling, bad feeling relatively fast. Is that true?
Yes.
Where's the needle on me right now?
It's pretty low because I feel really pressured. I feel like he's trying to rush me
I just
and not
started
ask
talking to you. I think you're a
What?
wackadoodle.
you what?
I think you're a wackadoodle. And then I just started talking. Well, that's what I'm thinking. But that's what I would ask. I mean, if it is a subjective measure, put the objective measure aside for a moment. Or if you want to focus on objective measure, put the subjective side of it. Let's just lay the good business line of chemistry aside. What do you think about my experience? Does it look like I have the level of experience you're looking for?
Yes.
So what you want to do is don't take them all as one, take them individually and try to figure out, okay, assuming that do I pass the test?
Yeah. That makes me comfortable. Yes.
And evidently she's a high C, very detailed minded, and you know what? And if you're interviewing, if a seller or a buyer is interviewing other agents, a great question to write down is, if there's more interviews to be had, or maybe basically they've already had interviews. So let me ask you, if I were the last one you were talking with, I mean, obviously you didn't hire the other 15 agents you were talking to. If I were the last agent you were going to interview, would you choose me?
I think I
Or
would.
if there's future, is there anything that you could hear in our conversation today that would make you feel comfortable? Notice I didn't say if I could convince you. It's all about her feeling comfortable. And I say this all the time. never go on an appointment unless you know they're interviewing. Because you have basically shot your cannon. And then at the end, they say they're going to interview. Now you're basically trying to pick up the pieces. All right, next. So Peggy, you're going to be the agent, and let's see here. Who's playing next? Come on, let's see hand. Paul, you in? You've got another conversation going on, so you might be on the phone. Z, you want to do it?
Why not?
Why not? All right, so then you will be a buyer. I'm going to have you be a buyer, Z, that does not want to buy right now because rates are falling.
Because rate are falling or rate are high?
They're-
Rates, they're falling. No, well, are not rates falling?
Yes, they are.
Therefore, I don't want. Whoa, Paul, what do you mean they're not falling? They are falling.
Rates are getting lower.
What's it say there?
That's low.
6.8 and
6.8.
6.17. That's
Yeah, but they
low.
were 7. They were 7, weren't they?
They're falling. Yes,
8.
they are.
It was 8 at one point. Yes, they are.
Okay.
But she doesn't want to buy. You're saying she doesn't
Okay.
want to buy because the rates are going lower.
Now, I
Oh,
didn't
move your
say
phone.
that.
I
didn't
thought that's
say
what you
it.
said.
I said that she wanted to wait. She didn't want to buy now. That's the difference. She didn't want to buy now because rates are falling. And I tell you what, you guys, if
She
you're
wants
not
to wait for
having people-
longer.
if you're not having people tell you that, they're thinking that. If rates get better periodically, buyers will wait for tomorrow because tomorrow is better than today.
I got it now. Thank you.
All right, you're having a conversation at the table, you know, you're at Starbucks, you looked at a couple houses, now you're having a conversation at Starbucks. 3 minutes, go.
Hey Z, we've gone over a couple of the properties. We've gone over that paperwork to sign and work with me to get you a house sooner rather than later. Does that make sense?
It make perfect sense. However, I think I'm gonna wait. My dad says it's gonna be like the bubble is gonna bust, so I want to wait.
Okay, and I can see that would, make a reasonable case, if we could
Stop,
really see.
Stop. Are you not validating what she just said?
Yes.
So don't. What's another way to
Yo,
acknowledge?
crazy.
You're cray. What's another way?
Okay.
Wait, what would be another way to acknowledge it?
Okay, so you're saying that waiting would make sense to you.
Just say
And-
okay. Just say okay.
Okay. Okay. All right, Denny, I'm saying okay.
There you go.
Okay, Z.
Other than
Yet-
that,
Other than waiting for the rates to get lower,
wait a minute.
Does it-
Now, she changed it. She said her dad said bubble's gonna burst.
okay,
So-
other than the bubble bursting.
Just go back to rates. Just go back to rates. You want to wait because the rates are falling. That's the objection, Z, okay?
Okay, I'm gonna
Stick with
wait
it.
because rate are falling, so I'm gonna wait.
Okay. Other than the rates falling, is there any other reason you wouldn't buy right now a home that we might have seen today?
No other reason.
So what we can do is we can put an offer in today and see exactly what's going on in the market today and see if the payment to this property works for you and you can afford it. Does that make
Stop.
sense?
Stop. You think you're on the right track? Why does she?
We
wanna
don't know. We don't know about the future. I could do that.
wait? Well,
We don't know about the rate. We only know the rates today. We don't know what's going to happen.
but you went into a close that did not fit. Now that's
I know. I know.
you went into a sales position. I don't want you to be a salesperson. I want you to ask
Right.
questions and help her
Okay.
discover things. Like, what's the
Okay.
first? Hang on. What's the first question? You have to learn very early. We haven't done a buyer in a while. What's the first question you should be asking her?
Why do I want to move?
Other than-
No, that would be the second question.
Isn't it whether you rent or own?
Yes, it is, Dorothy. Good job.
Don't I
No.
already know this at this point, though?
Yeah, but you don't know it in the role play. That's what I want people to hear.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
because you've already shown some homes, and so you might already know it. So let's.
I know it for a fact.
Well, even if
Danny, can I ask you a
if
question?
that's the case too, can't you just still bring the motivation back to, even if you already know, you can still bring the motivation back so you can have the pain and pleasure?
Tell me again, do you rent or own right now?
I rent.
You rent, and how long have you been renting?
Oh wow, for a long time.
Okay, approximately 10, 15 years?
Well, Why would
Alright.
you fill in a blank? Ask the question.
How long?
Oh,
That's a
wow.
long time.
Yeah, 25 years.
Okay.
You put in when you're 2.
Yeah.
The role play, Denny. Come on. It's a role play.
Well,
Danny,
you
can I
guys-
ask a question?
here's the thing. We can have fun with this, but I want you to understand there's a difference. How long have you been renting? And she says a long time. And we say that 10 or 25 years. I mean, why would I don't want you guys to say that. Well, how long is a long time?
How long is a long time?
Now,
She said 25 years.
all right, so I'm going to ask anyone now, what can you do with that information now that you know how long she's been renting? You're going to find as you discover more motivation, some potential pain points. What does that suggest and how can you leverage it? She's been renting 5, 10, 15, 25 years. Okay.
You can talk about the equity that she has
Lost.
not acquired by renting. You know,
How would
so
you
how
ask, how would you ask that question though?
the hell have you been renting for so long for? No, I wouldn't say that. But so Z, this is probably not right, but have you ever sat down and looked at how much you've paid in rent and realized that you could be putting that into equity into a home that you own? Have you ever looked at it from that standpoint?
It's a good question, but it's when you start talking to people about equity they put into the home, it doesn't seem real.
Yeah, buyers don't understand that.
So
Really?
here's how I would do it. So when did you have the first, you've been renting a long time, 20 years, let's say. When did you have the first thought of owning? Now, notice I didn't say buying.
Okay. I
When
like
did
that.
you have, when did you have the first thought of owning, Z?
15 years ago.
Wow. And
Oh,
what's making you want to own now?
I believe it's time. I waited off too long. I waited too long.
Now, do we know her motivation yet?
No.
We do not. All right, because people, I mean, listen, if you've got a buyer wanting to wait because interest rates are falling, you better go to motivation because you're going to have to use that against them. Okay, so you think it's time. Why is it time now?
Well, Danny, I feel like it's time to start children, and I want the backyard and the picket fence and all of that. So
So
that's
now that you know things like that, it's almost like it should be illegal. We can use, you want your kids playing in the yard, don't you? I mean,
Yes.
isn't that worth $17 a month or a day or whatever? But let me go back to the Sandra equity part. Then okay, so she wants to buy now. She's got some motivation, etc. So let me ask you. You said you first had the idea 15 years ago. If you could go back and do it again, would you have done it?
definitely
Why didn't you do it then?
young and stupid.
You were too young, or is that what you said?
she's young
Said
and stupid.
Young and
Young and stupid. Okay. Now here's the pain point, Sandra. This is the other side of the coin. Well, if you would have bought 15 years ago, do you have any earthly idea what these houses would have cost you back then?
No.
You see where I'm going? You're
Mhm.
talking this house for that, you know, that you're looking at now for 480 was 180. And so what you do, you've heard of future pacing. What you want to do is help them go back. Most of the conversations you're going to have with people aren't going to be aren't going to be. I was thinking about it 15 years ago. They're going to say I was thinking about it maybe a year ago or 4 years ago or 5. It still works. What has property done in the last 5 years, guys? In our market, since 2019, what that's 4 or 5 years. Home prices are up 65%. So what you do is you have them go back and look at that. So you would, if you had the choice, you would go back and do it. You would go back and do it differently, right? Because all of that money you left on the table, that's how you make the equity come alive. In other words, your home would have been a bank account with $300,000 in it. You see, that's a better way of saying equity to somebody who doesn't really understand the word. And then now you're standing here right now and you're still waiting. You want to make the same mistake again? Okay, now I'll stop there.
Let's go.
I'll stop there because today is in the pain. What's the pain in waiting, a buyer waiting for rates to fall? It's not going to be a long role play. Tell me an angle you could take.
The prices are increasing.
How?
Because more buyers are gonna go back in the market.
In a few months, or when
Competition.
the interest rate drops more buyers and more competition is going to be out there. That means the prices are going to go higher.
Can you say it in a question?
Do you think that when a lot of other buyers are like yourself, waiting for the interest rate to go down, that the market would be flooded with a lot of people competing for very low inventory and prices? Do you
You're
think
making a big
prices would go
statement.
up?
Chunk it up. You think other buyers are going to wait like you? Yes. Well, what
Do
do
you
you
think
think is going to happen when all of those buyers come back into the market? Do you remember the market we had a year ago with multiple offers and buyers weeping and gnashing their teeth because it was hard to find a house and they had to bid over asking price? Is that what you're waiting for? Susan, you got a question. What is it? You're muted.
So I was just thinking, instead of going down the rabbit hole and all that, I was just thinking in the beginning of the conversation, well, Z, when you wait for the interest rate to go down, what rates are you looking for?
Okay, fair.
And then let her answer that. And then so you cut all that stuff and then say, oh, I'm looking for 2.5%. You're like, then you're like, well, that's one of the historical rate. I don't think that it'll ever happen. But that's a huge drop. Think about for every, then you go into this analytical, it took the Feds to raise so many points in so many months. How much longer will you decide to go and buy a home before it goes lower? You could tee up that way, or you could say, well, when you buy at a low interest rate, in the past experience, you're more likely to pay more for the house than you are with interest rates.
Well, eventually we're going to have to get off. We haven't done buyers in a while. We're going to have to get off rate into what? Monthly investment. What are you paying for rent? And what's the difference in rate? What's really cool is, and this would be homework for you if you haven't done it. I went back and looked at where our market was at the peak, which was April 2022, to where it is now. 470 was the median sales price. 400 is the median sales price now. And then I calculated the monthly investment on the difference in interest rates. Back then it was 5, let's say, I can't remember. And now it's 7, and it's less than 7. And it came out to less than $30 a month in payment. You see, the market has here's the thing I want you to write down. The market has adjusted to absorb the rise in interest rate. Generally. So when I say that, do you understand what I'm saying? You're going to have a higher interest rate, but you're going to pay less, and the monthly investment is about the same. I don't know your market, you'd have to figure it out, but I have a feeling. Every one of your markets is off peak pricing.
Well, another thing too, Z had mentioned that her dad had said, to wait. And so my question would be also, is dad going to be a part of this conversation? Is he going to be part of the decision making as well too?
Yeah. I'll close with this and you can share your ahas really fast. In Florida, we have a phenomenon because everybody's a real estate agent. So they get a license, they watch an episode of HGTV, they're working at Five Guys and they're handing out real estate advice. So just when they leave you, they're all set and they talk to somebody at Five Guys that says it's a bad time to buy. Do you guys have that issue? So did anybody hear something good today? I think it was a lively call. I appreciate everybody participating. Give me an aha. I do this for free.
I like the fact that you said, don't answer his question. You take control. So you isolate it and then you go back and answer your questions.
Okay, great. Thanks, Susan. Good to see you again. Anybody else have an aha?
Always ask questions and find the motivation.
Yep. Make it simple. Anybody
And when
else?
when you're asking the questions, ask in little bits so you get to the end that you want.
Chunky.
Asking numerous
Okay.
questions.
Yeah, baby step.
Yep.
You guys, this will be posted on my Facebook, or not my Facebook, but my YouTube channel, Danny Grimes, the Master of Real Estate. If you can go there and subscribe, I've got a couple hundred videos. Great for insomnia. Just put them on, let them play in the background. You'll sleep like a baby. Love you, mean it. Knuckle bump. Be careful out there. If I can help you, it's Coach Danny Grimes at Gmail. Coach Danny Grimes at Gmail. And I'll see you at Recon on Monday, or I'll see you next Friday at Masquerade. Have an awesome weekend.
Bye, y'all.
Thanks, Dan.
Happy hour, Sandra. Sandra, happy hour.